Hello to everyone who may or may not be here. Welcome back to the stream where we play non-violent games, games that reward the player for intellectual and or emotional engagement rather than for combat or other kinds of violent gameplay loops. We're back with the Great Ace Attorney 2 today. Sorry about, I think it looked like the audio for I had just put in some music for the starting soon screen, so that you're not just like looking at a static screen for a while, and it looked like I hadn't noticed this soon enough, but it looked like it was like really loud, and I'm sorry about that if you had to deal with that. Yeah, I'm really sorry about that, and some of the like details were a little off, and like yeah. Anyways, I just kind of I was a little distracted, I guess, and so I didn't have all the details right. So in general, just sort of sorry about a little bit of the haphazardness of this start. But we're here now, and let's get started. That was perfect timing. Thank you. There we go. 23rd of October, 10:44 a.m., the Old Bailey, Defendant's Antechamber. Mr. Nardo! What on earth were you playing at just now? Or rather, what on earth were you playing at all along? My hypothesis, my amazing hypothesis, you've been picking holes in it from the start! Sorry about that. But you promised me! You said that you'd prove that dratted explosion was an accident, not matter! You said you'd keep my precious invention from falling into anyone else's hands! But all you've done so far is try to undermine me! Yes. Excuse me. Yes, I did make you a promise, you're right. I said that I'd believe in you and fight for your freedom to the very end. But I also told you I was no scientist. I don't understand your hypothesis. The fact is, there's an undeniable flaw in your logic, isn't there? But if I just run through some equations... Yes, you see, it's because my work is incomplete. Perhaps it is. Nevertheless, a man died as a consequence, didn't he? Oh. Oh no! You're right. You're so right. It's all my fault. I have no right to blame you for my failures. I'm a disaster, not just as a scientist, but as a human being. Well, that might be a little over the top. And while we're on the subject, what about Barak? He's being awful. Claiming his old university friend to be a murderer, you mean? He's a disaster! Not just as a prosecutor, but as a human being! Oh, but no, wait! He's the Reaper, isn't he? Perhaps he's not classified as Homo sapiens anymore. Well, that's cleared up. Can I double-check something with you? Yes, what? The machine and demonstration you prepared, they were based entirely on your hypothesis, I presume. There was no... Oh, excuse me. There was no trickery involved? I drew the plans for the machine with my very own hands. Every line was painstakingly drawn with a firm belief that science is the only future. So yes, it's true that my hypothesis hasn't reached maturity yet. But please, Miss Ardo, you must believe in it. Alright, Professor. I understand.
Counsel, defendant.
The prosecution's witnesses are ready to take the stand. Court is about to be in session again. Make your way to the courtroom, please. I don't even know what that was, but, you know, whatever. I don't seem to have given the bailiff or bailiffs, whatever, a consistent voice. But, say, Levy, it all hinges on that demonstration. If the professor's hypothesis is sound as he claims, it leaves him as the only person who could possibly have killed the victim. But on the other hand, Mr. Sholmes was adamant. A practical implication, such as was attempted by the professor at the exhibition, is quite impossible. So really, what should I be trying to prove here? Of October, 11 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of this court. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready for the new witnesses to testify? The prosecution is ready, my lord. As is the defense, my lord. So, Lord Van Zeeks, I believe these next witnesses saw the demonstration on the day in question with their own eyes? Indeed they did. And as luck would have it, one of them is a police detective. So the testimony we are about to hear can be considered highly reliable. Perfect. A detective of all people. The prosecution's stance remains unchanged. Though it ended in a tragedy, the demonstration on the day in question was scientifically sound. And consequently, the sole person with the opportunity to have committed this act of murder is the only other individual to have been present on the stage at the time, the accused. Thank you, counsel. The prosecution's position is clear. So, bring forth your witnesses now. Bailiff, show the witnesses in. The witnesses whose proximity to the incident of the day in question will clarify the truth unequivocally. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court to hear. Ooh, okay. This is a hell of a guy. My name is Balthazar Loon. Is that a good one for him, do you think? My name is Balthazar Loon. My name is Balthazar Loon. Yeah, I like that. I like that. My name is Balthazar Loon. Balloon. Balloon. Goodness me. I love these puns, but like in the way of like hating them, but like loving them, you know, in that like twisted way that only really puns can do. Puns and just like really like wonderfully hateable characters. Hey, Milky! Welcome! Yeah, I do the Great Ace Attorney every Thursday at 5 Eastern Time. My name is Balthazar Loon. How's it going? It's going alright.
I am the impresario of all the hot air balloons in vicinity of the experimental stage. I am the impresario of all the hot air balloons in vicinity at the experimental stage.
That's a better sample line. How about you? How are you doing? Oh my god. I have to do a German accent? No! I'm not prepared for that. My name is Wilhelm Gottfried Sigismund Ornstein. No, I'm not prepared for this. I'm good myself, just been busy with school, sadly. Yeah. Oh my god, I'm not prepared for this at all. My name is Wilhelm Gottfried Sigismund Ornstein. Yeah, well, you know. I have come to see the great exhibition all the way from my home in Bohemia. Or Bohemia, I guess. That's not in Germany. That's a whole other thing. But it's, sorry, I saw the mine and the, oh my god, this is just gonna be such a disaster. I apologize to anyone who is offended by this. I'm so sorry. I'm very rich. Oh, Gina. Anyways, I love Gina. She's gotten a little big for her britches. Her ego is slightly inflated now. Inspector Gina Lestrade, Scotland Yard. I'm a great detective. Even Airlock Show agrees. I was on security duty at the exhibition, and I got to go up in one of them balloons. It was amazing. Gina, again. But she did mention that she'd seen the disaster from up in a balloon, actually, didn't she? And she clearly loved every minute of it. There were 3 balloons flying near the public experimentation stage where the incident occurred. 2 of these witnesses were in one such balloon at the time and saw events unfold from the skies above. You make it sound like they were in the clouds. It was only an altitude of circa 60 feet. Very low. You can't see nothing if you fly too high, can you? 60 feet. About 18 meters then. Thank you for your introductions. Now, you will give your formal testimony for the court. Kindly describe exactly what you witnessed, especially those of you who had a vantage point above the stage. View from 60 feet up.
It was an incident terrible. It was incidentally terrible. I am only grateful that my balloons were not damaged.
There's this huge bang from the stage, and the next second, another bang in the sky. Another bang in the sky beside us. And from amid the smoke, because I assume this is a kid, and not just a very small man. And from amid the smoke, a cage appeared out of nowhere. And from amid the smoke, a cage appeared out of nowhere. I don't even know what I'm doing at this point.
The cage, it fell from the sky like a stone and crashed into the crystal tower.
I didn't get a good look inside the cage. No one went near it after it crashed into the tower. A most extraordinary collective account, I must say. Can I just clarify something? There's a detail in the witness's testimony that I've not heard any mention of until now. Specifically, that there were 2 explosions. Specifically that there were two explosions. Specifically that there were two explosions? More precisely, two explosions in two separate places. Yes. When the demonstration began, the balloon carrying the witnesses was around here. There were other balloons in the air nearby at the time, carrying other passengers as well, to be clear. Then, as power was supplied to the machine of the demonstration, the first explosion occurred. The so-called bird cage that contained the victim disappeared from the stage, and a moment later, the second explosion occurred, directly adjacent to the balloon carrying the witnesses. The bird cage appeared at the site of the explosion, subsequently to plummet down into the crystal tower. I was very surprised. Suddenly a cage appeared before my eyes with a person inside. The blast was so hot, but I didn't want to miss a thing, so I kept my eyes wide. I still have lots of money. Precisely who is this curious infant? I'm told he is a young noble of Bohemian royalty. Apparently he disguised himself in order to steal unnoticed into the Great Exhibition. Yeah, I'm here in London on a sightseeing trip with my elementary school. We will have the benefit of a child's point of view in the testimony. Do we really need that? Till I remove my mask, this is what I look like. Ah, yes, I see. A delightful face, I'm sure. Yeah, everybody says so. Great disguise, then. The point is, the testimony of these witnesses further substantiates the facts of the court. Namely, that despite ending in an explosion, instantaneous kinesis was successfully demonstrated. And furthermore, until the arrival of the police, no one approached the crystal tower where the victim fell. Therefore, only the accused, who was with Mr. Asman on the stage, could possibly have committed the murder. Yes, thank you, counsel. The prosecution's views on the matter are quite clear. So, the defense's cross-examination now, please. Yes, my lord. Wait, what do you mean your balloons were not damaged? Like, literally, they just said one exploded. Also, what the hell is that hat? It's a mini, it's a mini hot air balloon, but it's, got a working... It's got a working fire in there. The hell? Hold it! There were 3 balloons flying above the experimentation stage at the time, I understand?
Si. All 3 of them, I believe him.
Oh, he's Italian. He's Italian. Oy. I'm not prepared to do these accents today.
Si. All 3 of them, I bellissimi bambini. They are very popular, signor. Some people will pay £10 for one ride.
£10? That's more than my annual stipend. £20 a month. That is my pocket money. Well, let's have all the luck. I got up there for free, I did. Pay deal, I work for Her Majesty's Police Guard, you know. Detectives have all the luck. If they're so popular, why would you only be operating such a small number of balloons, though?
Because if I have too many in the skies, they could crash into each other. The operators for the balloons were decided by lots, with each operator manning a particular area. See, in the zone above, public experimentation stage is the most profitable. The other impresarios, they hate me. Thank you, witness. I think the court has a clear picture of the arrangements for balloon rides at the exhibition. Perhaps we could hear more about what you actually witnessed at the incident. Right, I can fill you in that, my lord.
Hold it!
So you actually saw the accident happen from up in the air? Yep. Amazing what a detective gets to do, eh? I'm telling you, Oda, being a lawyer's a mudskin. You should join the force and we can go flying together. You know me so well. Yes, well, anyway, could you tell us exactly what you saw, do you think? Everything. We saw everything because we were above it all. That dodgy coach climbing into that cage and that dodgy professor pulling all the levers. And that's what happened. That's when there was that massive bang and the cage disappeared, just like that. You are describing the moment the subject's body was decomposed by electricity, I believe. I didn't know what to make of it. But then there was another bang, right in the air. I looked around and there was a huge, great fireball right next to us in the sky. And there was nothing there before.
Excuse me!
Master Gotts, does your memory of the day differ? My teacher at elementary school said that when you meet someone for the first time, you should always use their full name. Ah, yes, what was it again? William Gottfried Sigismund Ormstein. Just the four names, then. The point is, do you have something to say? Something to add in response to Detective Gina Lestrade's last remark, perhaps? I get it right, Otto. It's Inspector Lestrade. Why does everyone have a problem with how I address them at the moment? That is not what I saw. Oh, yeah, there was a second explosion, and it was right beside our balloon. That is true. But I'm sure, which is what I said, is it? Which is what I said in it. 1 minute there was nothing there, and the next a massive explosion. My teacher at elementary school said that when someone else is speaking, if you are rude enough to interrupt, you will have the most awful life imaginable. Are all Bohemians brought up to be so full of joy? Just before the second explosion happened next to our balloon, I clearly witnessed a green balloon flying in the sky. A green balloon. Eh? You what? You what? I never saw nothing like that. Well, I did. I saw it, and you can't say I didn't. I will complain to the council. I will cry and scream. My testimony is the truth. I am Bohemian Prince. You cannot say it's a lie. This is not allowed. Hey, the bleeding royalty card, are you? Typical. Says the orphan who likes to remind people she works for Her Majesty's police. In that case, young man, I must ask you to amend your formal testimony. In the interest of cordial national relations between Great Britain and Bohemia, in the interest of cordial national relations between Great Britain and Bohemia. It was not the sky that exploded. It was a green balloon that was next to ours at the time.
Hold it!
A green balloon, you say? Are you sure about that? Of course I am sure. I am a proud Bohemian prince. All these questions are making me boring. I think you mean bored. Ah, English is very annoying. The language of my countrymen is far superior. Ragazzo, it is very wrong to lie. Ragazzo, it's very wrong to lie. Lie? Flying balloons never explode for the same reason that the planets never explode. It is logical. Please tell me that doesn't mean logical. If you insult me, you insult all of Bohemia. My God. I will have the army come and shoot you all out of your stupid balloons out of the sky. All of them. Yeah, you are, Your Highness. only all international incidents were so easily resolved. Now that peaceful relations have been restored here in the courtroom, perhaps we could return to the testimony. Did you also see the moment the cage materialized, Mr. Loon? No. I did not see the explosion myself. However,
Hold it!
did you see that actually happen? No, not in reality. I did not. I saw after the tower. There was a grand confusion around the stage. I ran to see what happened. I was terrorized by the idea that one of my balloons had crashed. I suppose they are his livelihood. When I looked up to the sky, all my precious balloons were still there. I saw it though. I saw it slam into the tower. After all, I am a detective now. Then tell us what you saw, Inspector Lestrade. That's what I like to hear.
Hold it!
Was it you who gave the order to keep people away? Eh? You surrendered. How could it have been me? I was up in a balloon one time. Right. So because I weren't available, it was the boss who had to leg it over there. He was getting shoved and kicked all over by the panicking spectators as he tried to steal off the scene. It was a real sight to behold, I can tell you. Amazing. Poor Inspector Gregson. So anyway, I couldn't see the cage that well because of all the smoke. And I didn't really want to see, to be honest. I was scared out of my wits. Keep it together, Inspector. Prosecution really is asserting that the demonstration was genuine. But what if it was actually some kind of switch-around trick instead? That would mean that the victim was never actually on the stage in the first place. 2 explosions would have thrown everyone watching into a panic for sure. I think I need to find out more about what exactly people saw at the time.
Objection!
The defense would have to object to that last statement, my lord. And I would have to overrule your objection, counsel. The defense would have to accept the penalty given. Glad to hear it, and you would also have to think again.
Hold it! Objection!
No, shoot. Let's try this.
Objection!
Yes! Got it. Proof that a green balloon exploded. Mr. Loon, in your... Oops. In your testimony, you said that all 3 of the balloons you had operating at the time were undamaged.
Say, that is correct. If they had been caught with the explosions, it would have been terrible.
I wonder if you might know what this is.
Ah, I think it may be. See, part of a balloon. Bent piece of the fabric on the envelope.
Sorry, the envelope.
Pardon, that is the large round part of the balloon which becomes filled with hot air. It is made from very thick fabric lined with rubber. You do not want it to rip where you are in the sky.
Just as I thought. This piece of cloth was found near the experimentation stage. In other words, as Master Goth testified, a green balloon did indeed explode that day.
Hey!
If all the balloons in the sky above the experimentation stage belong to you, Mr. Loon, then your statement that they were all undamaged clearly contradicts the evidence.
No!
They exploded that day, boys and men. Maybe everyone I never had seems to be this thing crashed.
Objection!
The instantaneous kinesis did occur, but after the explosion on the stage, the point of materialization shifted to a location occupied by a balloon. Causing the balloon to explode? Yes, eminently plausible. An unfortunate traffic accident as it were, but it changes nothing about the fundamental facts.
This I cannot accept.
Why not, Mr. Loon?
You are suggesting that I am a liar. That persons died in a balloon incident.
There's no need to get fired up, Mr. Loon. The victim was the sole fatality that day.
That's right, and I prove it. Balthazar Loon is not a liar. There was no such balloon in the sky. It's not possible.
You're saying it's impossible? Why? This court has more important matters to discuss than the number of balloons that were operating that day.
Ah!
Objection!
But we can't ignore the fact that nobody appears to have known anything about this other balloon until now. My lord, the defense calls for further testimony from Mr. Loon. I concur there is clearly more to the truth here than meets the eye. It's imperative that we clear up the issue of this phantom balloon, I feel. Witness, we will give supplementary testimony about the balloons you were operating at the exhibition.
Ah, right, see, my lord. As I said, Balthazar Loon is no liar. Every balloon I had in the sky landed safely. All 3 of my balloons were carrying passengers. If they fell to the ground in an explosion, what a catastrophe!
But you can't get away from the fact that a burnt-up bit of cloth was found at the scene, can you? The coppers at the yard reckon it was probably some debris thrown from the explosion on the stage.
The stupid Ragazzo is mistaken. My balloons have the red and blue zigzag stripes anyway.
So your assertion is that the balloon this child saw was not one belonging to you?
Say, exactamente. If you even saw a balloon in the first place, I do not like the sound of it. It is very bad for business. I have a good mind to sue the land of Bohemia.
If you attack us, we will fight back. It will be war, all-out war. What happened to all-out war? Mr. Loon certainly doesn't appear to be lying, but that doesn't change the fact that the testimony and evidence... that doesn't change the fact that the testimony and evidence are contradictory here. If the defense is unable to find fault with the witnesses' statements, the court must consider them the truth. Think long and hard on that, my learned friend. The situation has clearly changed now. I have to get to the bottom of what happened here, no matter what it takes. counsel, you may now cross-examine the witnesses.
Hold it!
You couldn't just have forgotten one, maybe?
Senor, I might not notice if I was given 100 lentils and one was missing. But we are not talking about 3 enormous balloons. Do you believe I could... But we are talking about 3 enormous balloons. Do you believe I could make a mistake about something so grande and expensive?
I took the liberty of having Inspector Gregson check this gentleman's warehouse. Sorry. I have the report here. It clearly says a total of 3 balloons. It would appear no mistake has been made then. Surely Mr. Straw could have been sent for such a menial task. What? Me? I'll tell you what I told the boss. East End kids like me can only count up to 2. Obviously that ain't true, but the boss bought it and said he'd have to go himself in that case.
Hold it!
It would be quite a catastrophe if they fell to the ground for any reason, I think. On that note, Mr. Loon, tell me, what is it that keeps these balloons in the sky?
Are you an idiot?
Sorry?
That is like asking, why does a candle burn bright? It burns bright because it burns bright, and a balloon flies because it flies. What else?
That must be Italian for I don't know. There are 2 types of flying balloons. Hot air balloons and gas balloons. Hot air balloons work on the principle of hot air being less dense than cold air, whereas gas balloons thrive and live by using a gas that is lighter than air.
Say, and my balloons are filled with the magic gas, I believe.
Hydrogen. Lighter than air, but highly explosive.
Good lord! I do not permit smoking of the cigarettes in any of my balloons. The magic gas does not like fire.
Even a small spark of static electricity could cause the entire balloon to explode.
What is the matter with you, senor? All that comes out of your mouth is explosion, explosion. I tell you, my balloons are perfectly safe. They have to be, or I cannot. None of my balloons exploded that day, I am completely sure. But if you still say it is what happened, you must show me the proof.
Alright, so Mr. Loon had 3 balloons in the air that day. If none of them were damaged, then what was the one that exploded?
Hold it!
I was surprised to find the piece of fabric still at the scene, actually. Didn't you search the area surrounding the stage for clues? Nah, I'm not into picking stuff up on the ground, mate. Always works out way better when don't dive into people's pockets instead. So much for the new career path. Mind you, the boss was on his hands and knees picking up all kinds of rubbish from the floor. Thing is, the cage went crashing into the crystal tower, didn't it? So that's where most of the investigating was going on. Even so, I would have thought someone from Scotland Yard would have gathered up as evidence. Oh, this dear. He stumbled across a bit of balloon and suddenly you're the best investigator in the world. Pardon? Well, I ain't gone bad, have it? Like this one. I could arrest you with this if I wanted to. I wouldn't put it past her. Come to think of it, there was talk of some sculpture on the ground at a meeting we had about the investigation.
Hold it!
There was considerable damage to the stage and surrounding area, wasn't there? Yeah, some of the coats that were watching the experiment were caught in the blast and injured. Good job, the old contraption didn't kill over, eh? I hadn't even considered that. It seems there was great panic after the incident occurred. Nevertheless, the police shouldn't have missed it. Nevertheless, the police shouldn't have missed a torn piece of the envelope from a balloon. Inspector Gregson can expect repercussions. How can we swipe in all these fish and chips, eh? Man's sole pleasure.
None of this matters. That scrap of balloon envelope means nothing. Niente. This, that.
Oh, whoops, I forgot to press that. I pressed the wrong button. As I thought, Mr. Loon's testimony just doesn't quite add up. The young Bohemian boy claims to have seen another, fourth balloon. Mr. Loon vehemently denies the possibility, and it's hard to imagine the man in charge could be mistaken about the number that were in the air. Still, this inconsistency must tell us something, I'm sure.
Hold it!
There we go. You mean the color is wrong?
Say, senor, I do not have any green balloons in my warehouse.
And yet a piece of green cloth was found at the scene. It's unmistakably from a balloon.
Well, I do not know how that could be.
For the sake of argument, let's say that a green balloon did explode above the stage. You couldn't therefore conclude that it happened on the day in question. Why not? There have been recreational balloon flights over Hyde Park operating from before the Great Exhibition. One could have exploded on some earlier date. Unfortunate, as I'm sure you'd agree.
You believe it may have been from some earlier balloon accident that predates the exhibition?
Say, exactamente. As the senor says, it is not from one of my balloons. Clearly, this little ragazzo from Bohemia is mistaken about what he saw.
Excuse me!
Is something wrong, Master Goss?
It's Master Wilhelm Gottfried Sigismund Ormstein.
It was on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, something is very wrong. I know what I saw. There was a green balloon there. I swear all over Bohemia.
You can speak as much bad language as you like, but it changes nothing. If you do not have evidence, Picasso, then I must tell you your bounds to punish you, eh?
Perhaps we'll let the judge decide when it comes to punishments.
Evidence? What is this evidence? To give a simple example, young man. A photograph, for instance. Some tangible proof of what you claim. Well, why didn't you say so sooner? I have the photograph here. Good gracious. What? I had not been up in a balloon for a little while, so I was very excited. I took lots and lots of photographs. Of the Crystal Tower, of the Bohemian exhibit, of the streets of London, of the yacht eel sailor, of the balloon. And the instantaneous kinesis experiment? Did you take a picture of that? Yeah, one picture. Really? You did take one? But all I wanted was a ride in a balloon. I was not interested in boring experiments. Never mind that. Can you show us that photograph? Of course. Then you will see. You will see that I am not lying. That I really did see a green balloon. Well, I see you are all too shocked to speak. Yes, I think shocked is indeed the word, young man. Yeah, perhaps you cannot see that it was a green balloon from this photograph, but that is not my fault. That is the fault of the stupid person who made the camera. That is one very bohemian-sounding cry. Very well, the court will accept this photograph as evidence. The photograph of the balloon has been entered into the court record. A photograph taken by Gotts whilst he was riding in a balloon. It shows another balloon that he claims was green and exploded moments after he took this shot. It's not my fault, it's the fault of the person who made the camera. Well, never mind. I'm sure you have plenty of wonderful sepia memories to take home with you. In any case, when exactly did you take that photograph?
Well, it was on the day of the big explosion. You don't say. When I pressed the shutter release, there was this very loud bang, and a hot wind rushed over my face. That means this photograph was taken a split second before the explosion occurred.
Well, if you ask me, this black and white photograph changes nothing. I could not give the flying fig.
Lovely language you've picked up. I know exactly what to do. There's no stripes on it.
Objection!
Wait, what? Really? Surely something about that last statement seems odd, doesn't it? Would you account about precisely what you find odd about it? How you return journey to Japan? I wouldn't be back to give the court an answer for about 4 months ago. Rest assured, we should be happy to carry out proceedings forward in your absence, Batzel. He sounds serious. I have to prove my worth before he really does send me back home. Really, because I really thought that was it. I really thought that was it. Because there's no stripes on that balloon.
Hold it!
Oh, here we go, I guess. Oh, okay, so I was just supposed to press this again. That's annoying. But the prince took a photograph as proof. It's Prince Wilhelm Gottfried Sigismund Ornstein.
Your royal blood will not help you here, Ragazzo. See, it is a balloon, but there is nothing more you can see from this black and white photograph. Just look on my head, that is a Balthazar Loom balloon, the best in the business.
Let's try not to get overinflated. Oh wait. Well, okay, I'm foolish. I'm foolish. I made an error about what I was trying to prove. The point is this: here we have clear photographic proof that in the sky above the experimentation stage, there may very well have been a balloon operated by somebody other than you, Mr. Moon.
Who was it? I want to know who is this mongrel with no respect for the boundaries.
Hold it! Hold it! Hold it! Hold it!
I'm just seeing if any other of the pressing has changed with the Okay, yeah, nothing new. Alright, let's see. Trying to think, what does this prove? What is the contradiction?
Objection!
Unfortunately, the photograph Master Gods took can't tell us the color of the balloon, but it can tell us something else, something crucially important. What? It shows us that the pictured balloon wasn't carrying any passengers. So I was right.
Oh, my goodness, you're right. But surely all the balloons would have been carrying passengers. There would be no sense in it otherwise.
Say, they are for pleasure, for seeing the view. My balloons only fly with passengers.
Which tells us that the pictured balloon isn't one of them. So when the incident occurred that day, there was a fourth balloon in the skies above the experimentation stage. The mysterious green balloon.
I know nothing, Gente. Oh, I can only tell you one thing. If this balloon was not carrying passengers, then it was not one of mine.
That hat!
Objection!
There are legal tradesmen everywhere you care to look. Clearly, one such entrepreneur decided to capitalize on the opportunity presented by the Great Exhibition and managed to operate balloon flights on Mr. Loon's patch without him realizing.
See, the competition trying to steal my profits. I did not notice because of the experimental that went wrong on the stage.
This fourth balloon exploded at the very same moment Mr. Aspen was beamed from the stage below. Right. So them scraps that fell to the ground after and left them scorch marks, they didn't come from the stage at all. It was bits of the balloon raining down. It's because no one was in it, it didn't get no attention. There's a fourth balloon carrying no passengers silently floating over the experimentation.
Objection!
This photograph shows us nothing more. A stray balloon carrying no one and operated by some rogue trader. Clearly it has nothing to do with the case.
Its relevance does elude me, I must say.
The court has seen sufficient evidence and heard ample testimony already. The prosecution calls for this trial to be concluded. Really? Have we really got to the truth yet? No, I can't let this opportunity slip away. The jurors' minds are made up, and not in our favor. What else can this photograph tell us? Is there nothing more we can learn from it?
Objection!
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, wait. Please don't give your decisions yet. The photograph of Master Gops may well be hiding one more vital clue. What's that? Wait, hold on. I need to... What's that? A vital clue?
Objection!
We're well past the point of mere possibilities. It's time for definitives now, so tell the court. What exactly does this alleged clue in the photograph prove? Its color. I'm gonna say the cause of the explosion. We can reasonably assume that the pictured balloon was destroyed in the searing heat of the explosion. Yeah, that's right, yeah! It was not my fault! Evidently, because the birdcage of the kinesis machine materialized in the sky where it had been flying. And the balloon, being filled with flammable hydrogen, instantly and explosively ignited.
Objection!
No, that's not what happened. What? It would appear that this photograph requires closer examination. Counsel for the defense, you will highlight the location of this little clue in the photograph for the court. Of course, my lord. If you look closely, it's plain enough to see, and what's shown is linked to another piece of evidence we have, in a way that leads to an unbelievable conclusion. A clue that heavily suggests the real reason the balloon exploded is... Okay, so it's not going to highlight anything.
Take that!
Ah, good, I was right. The timing of this photograph can only be described as miraculous. If you look, you'll notice there's a bright white line that appears to point directly at the balloon. Most likely a ray of light caught incidentally on the film. I'm afraid I can see nothing of the sort. If you look with a magnifying glass, my lord, it becomes clear what the nature of this bright line really is. Goodness, what is that? Number 4. Undeniably some flashlight, yes. Goldie, do you think it might be lightning? But it couldn't have been a finer day. I believe we may be looking at fire!
A bolt of fire heading straight for the balloon, like an arrow.
Indeed, even to my aging eyes it would appear to be a flame of some sort. My word, are you suggesting this flame struck the hydrogen gas that filled the balloon?
Objection!
That's absurd. The balloon would have been 60 feet above the ground at the time. No flame could possibly have reached such a height.
Objection!
Actually, it's my opinion that a particular piece of evidence found at the scene reveals how that is exactly what did happen. What evidence? If such evidence exists, counsel, then for goodness sake present it, man.
Take that!
The true nature of the curious, slim streak of light is revealed by this. A curious answer, with a slim chance of being the correct one, I feel. Oh. Oops. Looks like looks somewhat like a piece of firework, but whereas fireworks dazzle their audience, you fizzle out in a remarkably disappointing way. Insults dressed up in colorful metaphors are still insults. But anyway, this firework display isn't over yet. If such evidence exists, counsel, I really thought it was this thing. I thought like it, but it's not. Okay. Jerry! Jerry! Hey, Jerry! How are you doing, a himbo? Hey, what we figured out was that I'm not a himbo. I'm somewhere, like, on the edge of being a himbo and a himbim, or something like that. I don't know, I still don't get it, but that's what we figured out. Okay? Just to be clear. But anyways, I'm fine. How are you?
Take that! Take that!
Doing well. Honestly excited to be home a little early and not be late for picking up my kids in a little bit. Glad to hear it. Thinking, like, maybe I have to examine this in some way, but there's, like, nothing I can click on. There we go. There's some sort of lever here. There we go. What is this? It looks like a cross between a bow and a gun. I think it's probably used for the same thing, too. Hi. So I was right, I just hadn't found the very small interaction point.
Take that!
This was found hidden at the foot of a small ornamental tree near the scene. Good lord, is that a crossbow? An arrow dipped in oil and set alight could have been shot from this weapon, sending a flaming arrow straight into the hydrogen-filled balloon. Or are you suggesting that a crossbow was used to deliberately... Blimey, you're right. That streak of light in the photo looks just like an arrow, doesn't it?
Then the explosion of the balloon, it was...
Very likely the result of a flaming arrow from this crossbow igniting the hydrogen gas inside it. Well, that's something. Order! Council, this is an extraordinary supposition. If the aim was to cause the balloon to explode, the shooter could have used a gun, of course. However, there's an obvious reason why that would have been out of the question. The noise of the discharge, of course. That's right. By using a crossbow, the projectile could be fired at the balloon silently. Yeah, if someone had shot a gun off the exhibition grounds, it would have caused a real panic.
But with the big explosion, there was a very big panic anyway, no?
I don't like this. I should be pleased to have found a plausible new explanation for all this, but something feels wrong.
Objection!
Do you understand the implications of what you're saying, my Nibbity's friend? If a flaming arrow did indeed hit the balloon, then obviously it would have exploded. And if the birdcage appeared from the cloud of smoke that ensued... Oh, wait a minute. What are you really saying here? I don't get it. Was the birdcage beamed up into the sky after all? Or what? My goodness me! Oh, now I understand. That's what that sinking feeling is about. I think there's a good chance that the birdcage was actually concealed inside the balloon all along. What? Did I just hear that correctly, Counsel? There's no going back now. The horse is bolted. Let's assume, as I said, that the birdcage was hidden inside the green balloon from the start. On stage, when the experiment was started, the birdcage and the instantaneous kinesis machine disappeared in a cloud of smoke. At that moment, a flaming arrow was fired from the ground, causing the green balloon to explode and drawing the attention of the spectators to the sky above their heads. I think there's an even better chance that the birdcage was a movie with Robin Williams and Nathan Lane. Yeah. Hell of a movie, too. I watched it a long time ago. I really liked it. I should watch it again sometime soon. I don't remember much of it. But I remember liking it. Though, it was long enough ago that, I am not sure on how dated it might be at this point. Me neither. I just remember laughing. I don't know if it holds up. Yeah. You know, a comedy from, you know, that long ago. I mean, hell, even if it was just 10 years ago, but especially longer than that. That stars gay people. Like, I want to give it the benefit of the doubt, but I really don't remember. I do think I remember that, like, they were treated pretty sympathetically. Like, they were the stars of the movie, and, like, they were treated pretty well, I think. But that doesn't necessarily mean they didn't fall into dated stuff. Like, and that there wasn't, like, comedy that particularly, like, was dated. Even if, like, at the time, it was probably as respectful as you could get at the time, that doesn't necessarily mean that it was respectful. You know what I mean? But it was probably more respectful than a lot of the stuff about queer people. I'm sure some of the humor was broad, I believe. Yeah. Yeah. But it probably is worth watching again and analyzing how sort of one of the earlier really, like, prominent queer stories really holds up. Because it was. Like, it starred two big names, and it was a very, very queer story. Obviously, you know, today, if something like that were made, we'd want to get queer actors. But, it is interesting, actually. Like, just, like, looking back, like, that was an interesting thing, where it's like, that was particularly queer film. And, we're still struggling to get that kind of thing made today. So, it's interesting. When did it come out? I wonder. I should check that, after I stream. Unless you want to check it now. But I'll check it after I stream, assuming I remember. Anyways, from amid the smoke, the hidden birdcage then appeared to fall down and crash into the crystal tower. I think you'll all agree it's entirely plausible that what I've just described is the real truth behind the miraculous experiment carried out that day. This is, good grief! 1996, the year I was born. So, that's interesting, that we had such a prominently queer film with two really big names attached. That was so blatantly queer. That's interesting. Who made it? What like studio? Was it like an indie studio or was it a big studio? This is ludicrous. What you have described is no science experiment. It's child's play, a contemptible display of stage magic. Both Mr. Sholmes and Iris said the experiment was a scientific impossibility, in which case it's the only way to explain what happened that day. And in any case, the victim's body was found inside the birdcage in the Crystal Tower. If the instantaneous kinesis didn't take place, how do you explain that? If I may put in a word, as a man of magic myself, such apparent discrepancies can easily be explained by some simple deception. Cure number 3. All that would be needed is a doppelganger, someone who looked very similar to the victim, Mr. Asmund, and having this other man appear on stage to front the show as a body double. Ah, yes, of course. So, in fact, Mr. Asmund must have been inside the birdcage that was concealed inside the balloon right from the start.
Objection!
That balloon would have been filled with hydrogen. Anything hidden inside it would have been scattered to the four winds when it exploded. No one would ever have embarked on such a risky venture.
Not necessarily. The explosive force of the balloon gas would very much depend on the mixture ratio.
Cure number 4.
Flying balloons are rarely filled with pure hydrogen, but a mixture of other gases such as helium as well. Helium on its own doesn't explode, but by controlling the gas mixture ratio, the explosive force can be altered. Mixture ratio. Obviously, the victim's body would have suffered some burns that would be unavoidable, but not to such an extent as to render the obscene short of what impossible.
So everything that happened can be explained, logically and scientifically. The explosion that engulfed the stage at the start of the experiment was no accident. It was all part of an elaborate deception to make it appear that instantaneous kinesis had occurred. Well, goodness me. And if we accept that this is what happened, it means that the victim, Mr. Asmund, was never present on the public experimentation stage to begin with. Big production company was United Artists, went defunct in 2020. It was distributed by MGM. Ah, I see. Yeah, yeah. No, it makes sense that they would make it, I think. They were one of the more risky places, I think, United Artists. And then MGM also, of course, was, made a lot of, sort of riskier stuff, even as the, of course it doesn't as much these days, but it did at, a while ago, even as big studios started heading more and more in a less risky direction. So it made sense. But anyways, it's interesting that was made in 1996. That's really interesting because, what was the reception at the time? That's curious. I'm curious about that. I'm sorry I'm having to look up so many things. I've just gotten really curious about this film that happened in 1996 and was so blatantly queer. Like, even if it's dated, like, it was really, really queer. And pretty unashamed of it, too. In short, we couldn't have been killed by the defendant, who was on stage in full view the entire time. Ah! This will be very hard for the prosecution to counter. Lord Van Zieks can't credibly maintain that Professor Harebrayne is a suspect now. This is Professor Harebrayne, isn't it? Yep. Hold it! Mr. Otto, I appreciate your efforts. Thank you. Professor... But you can stop now. Just keep your mouth shut, please. Sorry? What's all this about, Mr. Harebrayne? I, Albert Harebrayne, hereby confess that it was me who stabbed Mr. Odie Osmond. Yes, it was me. Opened at number 1 and stayed there for the next 3 weeks. Wow. That's really interesting for a 1996 queer movie. That's really interesting. That's really interesting. Yeah, awesome and surprising. That's really interesting. That's really interesting. Yes, it was me, with my faithful friend and partner, Andrew the Screwdriver. What are you doing? Order, order, order! Defendant, explain this sudden confession. Professor Harebrayne, what are you talking about? It's what I've said all along. I must protect my hypothesis and my precious machine. You'll stand there and claim it was all a trick, all an elaborate prank, but where's your proof? No, you'd have to examine the machine if you wanted to prove it, but then it would all be over. My beautiful hypothesis would be laid bare. I mean, the integrity of it. It's clear that you drew the plans for the experiment, but you didn't actually build it. It's quite conceivable that you were duped, Professor. If you'll just let me, I can prove. Back! Yes. I'll cooperate. I'll do whatever you'll say. I swear it. So please, ensure the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act is adhered to and protect my creation. Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice at this critical juncture. Here's to my learned Nipponese friend. What? And his upcoming attempt to clarify the defense's position in the light of the accused's confession. Do you intend to formally assert that the experiment was nothing more than a conjuring trick? Because the moment you do, the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act that protects the professor's invention will cease to apply. The prosecution will then demand a rigorous examination of the machinery involved in order to establish the truth. However, if you acknowledge that the machine is genuine and instrumental in the victim's murder, any chance of investigating will be crushed, and the confidentiality of the professor's hypothesis preserved. Well, counsel, what is the defense's official position on this matter? Professor Harebrayne, my client, actually asked of me was to prove that the explosion on stage was an accident and protect the secrecy of his hypothesis. But there's no way to do that without implying the professor's guilt. Do I protect my client's life by asserting his innocence, or do I uphold my client's request but see him condemned? Either way, I can't avoid betraying his trust. You've been silent long enough. Isn't talking your trade, my learned friend? Or has all knowledge of English escaped your confused Nipponese mind? Mr. Rano!
There's no escape here. I have to make a choice. It's an impossible one. I have to give up on something, but what?
The defense asserts that the defendant's instantaneous kinesis machine was in fact a conjuring trick. They have to pursue the truth. Ah! No, I can't say it. My client placed his faith in me. I can't just let him down. What must I give up on is not the question you have to ask yourself here. It's what can I protect? Oh, what must I give up on is not the question you have to ask yourself here. It's what can I protect? Hello again, Miss Nardo. It's been far too long. Susano-san! What are you... Hey! Ah! My first Susano takedown in 6 months. There'll be time to talk later, Mr. Nardo. For now, we must concentrate on the task at hand. Concentrate on the task at hand, which is working out not what I can have to give up on, but what I can protect. Professor Hairbrain. Ah, yes! Yesterday you told me that science is the pursuit of truth. Well, my job is to pursue the truth too. Yes, of course! And personally, I believe that you didn't stab Mr. Asman. I think you've come to realize something yourself too, haven't you? That your experiment and the machine you built with the victim are questionable. The truth behind that is what we must both pursue now. Ah! Gotta go? Well, thanks for the interesting discussion while you were here. That was really interesting. Thank you for all that information. See you later. So, you've finally opened your eyes. What? And as for you, Albert, you can't ignore this any longer. Having heard my learned friend's assertion, don't you have something to say? Barak! Lord Van Zeeks. Gosh, I'd never heard him speak that way before. In truth, there is one thing. Something I've remembered that's of relevance. What? What? On the day it happened, just before I began the experiment, I saw a man near the stage. A man holding that crossbow. I beg your pardon? I beg your pardon? Professor! Did the man have any distinguishing features? What did he look like? Tall. Taller than me and thinner than me, with straighter and whiter than mine. Let me see. One less lens than me too. A monocle. A rather stylish black monocle. But one thing in particular will help to positively identify the man. You see, I know him very well. After all, he's the engineer who built my invention. What? He built the machine? That's right. Mr. Osmond introduced him to me a year ago. He's a man by the name of Enoch Drebber. Enoch Drebber? Does this name mean something? Members of the Jai seem flustered. Not a name any scientist wishes to hear. The man's name is an abomination. Not a name any conjurer wishes to hear either. Who on earth is he? I'm afraid this isn't the first tale of this nature that I've heard in scientific circles in connection with that name. There's talk of other flamboyant experiments that turn out to be nothing but stage trickery in the end. Obviously, the rascal is after the government's research grant money. When magicians are in need of money, I have heard of them resorting to these underhand tactics. Some acquaintances of mine with experience of such things have mentioned Enoch Drebber's name before. Man is both an engineer and a magician. Yes, we're dealing with unparalleled confidence trickster here. That's Enoch Drebber for you.
it's true then. My invention, my great machine, it was just a grand illusion.
Considering what we've just heard about Mr. Dripper's character, I'm sorry to say that sounds increasingly likely.
Even though no one else believed it, I wanted to believe that machine would function exactly as my hypothesis predicted.
Which is why he was so opposed to it being investigated, I presume.
I know that if the machine was examined in detail, the construction would give away my hypothesis. Obviously, I didn't want that to happen, but at the same time, I know that if it was found to be nothing more than a trick, than a work of deception, then everything I had worked towards, all my research, all my dreams, my whole life would be over. I was terrified at the prospect.
So you really had no idea then, did you? About the true nature of the machine that was built, and the true nature of Mr. Drebber.
I never questioned anything. I didn't want to question it.
It's entirely possible that Mr. Asman and Mr. Drebber were working together to use you as a means of fraudulently acquiring the research grant money.
When I announced my invention to the crowds that day, it was the finest moment of my career. I pulled all the levers and turned all the dials in exactly the way Drebber had described. When the smoke suddenly started billowing out, I panicked. I didn't know what was happening. But I really don't know how the whole illusion was made to work. I don't know anything anymore.
Let me confirm one final point with you, Professor. Do you now consent to the prosecution submitting the necessary paperwork to release your invention from the protection afforded by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act?
Yes, please go ahead.
I'm very sorry.
It would appear that we shall have to suspend proceedings for the remainder of the day now. Lord Van Zeeks.
My lord.
The court has newly been made aware of another party whose involvement in this matter is critical.
Yes, Mr. Drebber.
Gather information about the man. If possible, I should like him served with a subpoena.
With pleasure, my lord.
Now, counsel for the defense. Yes, my lord? When we reconvene, I shall be looking for one thing and one thing alone from you. Evidence that the defendant is innocent of the crime for which he presently stands accused.
I understand.
Good. In that case, this court is adjourned until tomorrow morning.
Of October, 1:36 p.m., the Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber.
Mr. Nato. Yes? I'm so sorry. I was wrong. You were right. I tricked you. You trusted me. I dragged you into my mess. Oh, how did it ever come to this? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Did you really have no idea, Professor? About what Mr. Drebber was really up to, I mean? About what he was really constructing?
Naturally! That machine was the embodiment of my hypothesis of all my hopes and dreams. I had complete faith in it.
Alright, in that case, I won't say any more. Now, sadly, the murder accusation against you still stands, so we must do as much investigation as we can before the trial resumes tomorrow.
Well, thank you for doing so much for me.
I'm so sorry for arriving late this morning, Mr. Harlow.
Arriving late?
Didn't you receive my postcard? I wanted to let you know when I'd arrived.
Postcard? What postcard?
I hid it from you, Bruno, so it would be a surprise. Well,
Did it work?
I was surprised, alright, especially when she threw me to the ground.
Oh dear, I'm so sorry. I was just so happy to see you again that it sort of slipped out.
Maybe we could stick to more traditional displays of emotion in the future.
Susie's train was late in the London Victoria this morning, you see. But we made the coachman really whip balls hard so she didn't miss the whole trial. I was watching from the gallery for a while, but in the end, I'm afraid I couldn't contain myself.
Well, I'm glad you didn't.
Oh,
Having you at my side in court gives me the strength I need to win. So I'm delighted to see you back in London.
oh, you were too kind, Miss Nardo. I'm delighted to be here. I hope I can continue to be of service of you.
Of service to you. Of course. So, what's brought you back? Did Professor Mikotoba not protest?
Let's save all that conversation for when we're back at home, shall we? You know I've made one of my most special blends ever for this special occasion. Oh, Iris, how wonderful. I can't wait.
Sato-san was back in London. It's hard to describe how happy that made me feel at the time. But despite my elation, our tale was about to take yet another extraordinary turn. Alright, well, we're sort of about 20 minutes from our usual ending. This seems like a good place to stop. So, as always, thank you to everyone who was and wasn't here. Extra special thank you to Jerry and Milky, who both stopped by tonight. And I will see you all on Saturday for more of Lucy Dreaming. I've been really enjoying that game. It's a lot of fun. Very charming, very absurd. Lots of fun. So I'll see you then. Bye!